A very good afternoon to everyone and welcome to our Wednesday webinar. Today's webinar is Teaching Trinity Rock and Pop Vocals, one of our most popular subjects. And these webinars that we have been doing, we've done guitar and drums, and today's vocals, and the next 2 weeks will be keyboards and bass. These are a little different from our usual webinars generally workshops that we do, which are totally focused on the syllabus. We've moved a little away from that in this, and we are highlighting and showcasing elements of the syllabus that are very, very important, such as the kind of styles, the techniques, the theoretical concepts that are necessary for doing these exams and singing these songs, which are in our syllabus. We will talk a little bit about syllabus requirements, not too much, but you can get the syllabus for free download from our website and go through it in details. As you can see on your screen, we have a large array of bigwigs from our academic consultant team. We have the very experienced Farida from Pune. Farida is a singer and a pianist, a choral conductor, music educator. The multi-talented Anson Matthews and Albert John. Anson from Kochi, also a music educator. He's a producer and conductor, as well as a singer and a performing artist. Albert is from Ludhiana, and he too is a performing artist, music educator, composer, everything, all rolled into one. And they both play several instruments and sing, of course. Krizan comes to us from Mumbai, and she too is a music educator. She looks very young, but she's not the baby in the group. And she's also a composer and a performer. So without much ado, I'm going to hand over to my co-hosts who will be taking you through this webinar. And I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as we have enjoyed putting this together for you all. So Farida, I'd like to hand over to you.
A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you who have taken the time to be a part of this webinar for rock and pop vocals. Let's begin with a little bit about rock and roll music. Rock and roll music originated in the 1950s and it spread like wildfire all over the world. It was influenced by very many different kinds of music, like blues, jazz, even classical music. And it soon became a new culture altogether, with a huge wave of popularity and fandom. Through the years, rock and roll music plays a high emphasis on live performance. And this is one of the main aspects of the music. The singer is usually always at the heart of the performance. As many of us here are aware, graded exams are an excellent means to develop and improve musical talent. Realizing this, Trinity College London came up with the Rock and Pop exams, designed to move students and aspiring musicians towards a high level of musical perception. This was done by using song lists that span a huge range of musical styles. There are many artists featured in this selection, ranging from the Beatles to Guns N' Roses, from Michael Jackson to Bob Dylan, Taylor Swift to George Michael. The list is long and there's something for everyone in it. So, what is contemporary music? Contemporary music can well be defined as popular music, or as we know it, pop music, ranging from soft rock to ballads, to blues, to hard rock, with styles that include soul, rhythm and blues, gospel rock, popular music. It all comes together as popular music. This music is played and performed in all languages all over the world. And let's look at the next question. What is a contemporary musician? A musician who can play over a variety of styles using a variety of techniques. And the wonderful thing about contemporary musicians is they usually have no formal training. Rock and pop exams set up by Trinity College London realized the need to develop and enhance the raw talent seen in so many talented musicians. This is done by developing a set of skills. Along with turning out a good performer, the experience can be described as enriching, or in a more appropriate language for rockers, rock star, cool music, amazing music, and there's an international certificate to boot. So this makes it a really worthwhile proposition. This singer needs no introduction to most of you. Adele, an English songwriter and a vocalist with a magical voice, a magnetic stage presence, a real diva. Watching her answers a lot of questions about how important a singer is to a band. A singer, whether in the studio or in a live concert, is the focal point of the band, bringing musicians together. A singer makes the music come alive. A singer personalizes the music through the lyrics and breathes life and soul into a performance. So I might be a little biased here, but the singer is the focal point of the band. No two things about it. Let's move on to something else which is very, very important to most music educators, and that is the anatomy of singing. The technical approach to using the voice, known by several as vocal hygiene, is very, very important to all singers. Without the correct technique, there is every possible situation that might arise with voice strain. And therefore, to avoid this, to save the voice, to prevent overstrain, and handle the vocal demands of the music, it is very, very essential that all singers practice correct vocal hygiene. The diagram clearly illustrates this. There are 4 important points to remember. The first is the foundation. Always remember to breathe down to the diaphragm, expand the lungs fully so that there is a good foundation for the voice to be carried on. The second is the flow of air that needs to support and carry the voice forward. The third, the floor, which is actually the lower part of the face, the lower jaw, needs to be dropped, needs to be opened in order for the sound to really be strong and pleasant. And the last point, which is focus, that includes the way notes are being placed, their position on the vocal scale, as well as a definite consideration of what these sounds are going to be like to an audience. Let's move on to the styles used by rock and pop artists. These are numerous, and we're going to deal with them in a little bit of detail later on in this webinar. But styles depend on several things. There's a production of tone, which must suit the particular style in which you're singing. Posture, which goes hand in hand with correct breathing, because as we know, a lot of rock and pop artists prefer to sit and sing. Some of them stand and sing, some of them lie down on the stage and sing. But the main thing to keep in mind is keep a relaxed posture, a good straight upper body, because this will allow for correct breathing, for diaphragmatic breathing, as I just mentioned earlier. Articulation of consonants, crisp and clear. There should be clean, open enunciations of vowels. And very often, style will determine the technique used. So let's always remember, sound technique equals effective interpretation, equals good tone, equals wonderful performance, and you're set to rock. I'm going to now hand over to Anson for the use of the mic.
Thank you, Anjali ma'am and Farida ma'am, for that wonderful introduction. Yes, now moving on to mic and mic techniques. Why is a microphone important? A microphone is an integral part in today's live stage sessions, as all other instruments are amplified. A microphone amplifies your voice, making it more audible on stage. That brings us to the question, does it make our voice better? Yes, if we know the right equipment and the right technique, microphones will surely make our voice sound much better on stage. That being said, there are two basic types of microphones: a dynamic microphone and a condenser microphone. Generally, a dynamic mic is used in live situations because they are robust, less sensitive, and doesn't require an extra power to run them. Lower sensitivity makes dynamic microphones less prone to feedback and bleed, helping the sound engineer to give a very good mix. However, condenser microphones are very much popular in controlled environments like a studio. That's where you get all the subtle nuances from the singer's voice. These days, there are many audio professionals who prefer to use specially designed condenser mics to get the best of both worlds. This is an example for a dynamic microphone. And this is an example for a condenser microphone. As you can see, this is upright and looks just like a studio microphone. Now moving on to the next. Mic techniques for live on-stage musicians. So there are some things that you need to keep in mind when you are singing up on stage. What are they? The first one is sandbagging the sound check. You might be wondering, what is sandbagging? Sandbagging means not to give your best performance during the sound check. Yes, it is okay to conserve your energy for the final gig, but always safe to exhibit your dynamic range to the engineer so that he can give you a better mix throughout the show. This is really important not only for a rock and roll stage situation, but also for a rock and pop vocal exam as well. That is the reason why you get a 30-second sound check just before the assessment begins. So make sure you don't sandbag during the sound check. Next, eating the microphone. Yes, trust me, we all have done this. We move the microphones too close. Yes, give a little bit of space. Even a good 4-inch will thicken up your voice and make your voice pop out just fine. Eating the microphone will only make your sound more muffled and reduce clarity of singing. Make sure you give enough space between your lips and the microphone to get the best tone out of your microphone. Moving on to the next one, cupping the microphone. Cupping the microphones can make you look cool on stage, but they can destroy the sound as it can pick up sound from everything else on stage, also altering the tone of your vocals. So make sure you hold the mic correctly without placing your palm on the head of the microphones. So this is right, this is wrong. Next thing you should keep in mind is dreadful aim and distancing. If the microphone were a flashlight, you'd literally want it to brighten up your smile. That's where you should be pointing your microphones, not anywhere else, especially when you're in a live performance. Make sure you at least have some 4 inches of space between the microphone and lips and aim at the right direction to get a well-balanced and even tone. The next one is creeping in front of a PA. What do you mean by creeping in front of a PA? Yes. Please note where the speakers are positioned and make sure you don't go right in front of it. This can cause unnecessary howling and feedback to creep in, which can spoil your performance and can also damage your ears if you're standing too close to the speakers. Make sure you draw a mental line and stay away from creeping in front of the PA system. Moving on to the next one, effects modules for singers. Any performing live vocalist nowadays use an effect module which gives them different options and different effects to enhance their voice on stage. Make sure you know what effects that you are using and also see that you use them correctly so that they can enhance your performance really well. Commonly used effects are a reverb effect. Everybody knows the reverb effect. A reverb effect is created when a sound is reflected, causing numerous reflections to build up and decay as the sound is absorbed by surfaces like furniture, people, and air. Kind of like a sustain effect without actually sustaining your voice. Let's listen how it sounds.
Hey, hey, oh, oh,
That was a dry voice. Now with the reverb.
oh,
Hope you got that. Next, we come to the echo. What is echo effect? Echo effects are used as an audio effect based on delaying a source of sound over time. Listeners perceive distinct echo when time delay is relatively long, say greater than 30 milliseconds. Let's listen to a dry voice and then with an echo.
hey, hey, oh,
there you go, an echo effect. Moving on to the next effect, which is delay. Delay is an effect which is quite similar to echo, but the reflections happen much faster. Delay effects range from subtle echo effect to a pronounced blending of previous sounds with new sounds. Let's listen to a dry voice and then with a delay effect.
Hey, hey, oh,
Now with the
hey,
effect.
hey, oh,
Yes. Last, we come to the chorus effect. In music, a chorus effect is the doubling of vocals approximately the same time and in very similar pitches. It has a rich, shimmering quality that would be absent if the sound came from a single source. The shimmer occurs because of blending of voices together. Let's listen to a dry sound and with the effect.
hey, hey, oh,
Now with the
hey,
effect.
hey, oh,
Hope that was evident. Now moving on to the vocal syllabus,
hey,
handing the
hey,
presentation to Anjali ma'am.
Thank you very much, Anson, and thank you, Farida. Anson, that was really, really useful, and I'm sure you'll all agree with me. These are some details that we tend to ignore when we are teaching or learning, and they are so important for a good performance. So, as I said in the beginning, this presentation is a little different from what we usually do. I also promised we'd give you a little look at our syllabus, which I'm going to do now. But first, please watch a very short video. So this is what our exams are really all about. There were certain words that popped out at us from the video. There was the word real 3 times, and it said real songs, which is what we use for our syllabus. These are existing songs arranged as per the requirement of the grades. Real skills. Real skills meaning the skills required to perform these songs. And of course, real progress through our grades from initial to grade 8. And the last thing we saw was what we reiterate all the time. It's all about performance. We encourage you to be a better performer through these various aspects of learning and exams. So now I'm going to give you a little more information, not really go into details, but what is our exam about? Most of you will know that you need to perform 3 songs, and these songs carry 80 marks. The third song that you perform is called a technical focus song, which carries little extra marks, 30 marks there, 25 for the others. And this one tests your techniques, which are marked out in the book before the song. So we have not put in any kind of scales, chords, or technical work and exercises, but through the performance of a song, we test the techniques that we have designed for each grade. The rest of the 20 marks go to session skills. Farida mentioned in the beginning that a singer can also be a session musician. So who or what is a session musician? Session musician is one who performs or records in a studio. He may also travel with a band as not a permanent member, but playing along with the band for a tour or for certain gigs. The skills most needed to be a session musician is what we test here: playback and improvising. It's important, and we all know that a musician may walk into a recording studio and that morning be given the music that he's to perform. So he has to be very quick on the uptake, and he needs to be able to reproduce it very quickly. Again, on the other hand, if he's performing with a band, you suddenly may be asked to improvise over a certain chord sequence. So we have put this in as session skills, and you choose one of these for the exam. But of course, as I always say, please go through all of them because they are very useful developing your musical skills. A little bit of information I'm going to give you, not about the syllabus, because that is all in the book or the download that you can get from the website, but about before the exam and in that exam room. So assistance to set up for the exam is permitted up to grade 5. From grade 6 onwards, candidates need to set up themselves. For our vocals exams, all types of male and female voices may enter for the exam, and you may transpose the song if you feel the pitch does not suit your voice. But do remember, if you are transposing the song, you will need to carry the transposed backing track into the exam room, as the examiner will not have it. Microphones we spoke at length about, but here is how it's applied in our exams. At the initial grade, you may perform without a mic. We do encourage candidates to use a mic, but it is not compulsory for any songs. At grades 1 to 3, candidates must use a microphone for song 3, that is the technical focus song. It is advised, but it is not compulsory for songs 1 and 2. At the 4 and 5 level, again, the microphone needs to be used now for song 1 and 3. The second song can be performed on the mic also, but it can also be sung live to piano or guitar accompaniment, or unaccompanied if it is your own composition or own choice. Grade 6 to 8, mostly everybody performs all 3 songs on a mic here. Again, here the exception is song 2 if you're singing it with a live piano or guitar accompaniment. You do not have to use a mic for session skills. Now, what happens inside that exam room? For your performance, you may stand up, but you may also sit down if you think certain songs need that effect. Examiner plays all the backing tracks for the songs in the Trinity books. The candidate needs to carry the backing tracks only as backup copies. At the beginning, there will be a sound check, which is very, very important, and levels will be set which suit the candidate as well as the examiner. The candidate carries the original book into the exam room. You carry your completed appointment form, and if performing an own choice song or a transposed song, please carry the backing track on a USB stick or CD. Mostly it is carried on a pen drive because quite a few examiners don't have computers with a CD drive. The candidate is allowed to carry their own microphone, though one will be available there at the exam center, and any other equipment needed for their performances. So that was a little bit of information. There's lots in our syllabus, so please do go through our syllabus end to end. Now we're going to move on to the levels of our exams. We've done this at 3 levels: foundation, intermediate, and advanced. The foundation level being grade initial to grade 3, intermediate grades 4 and 5, and advanced grades 6 to 8. And we will be discussing the styles and techniques with a few demos of these levels. And to start this off, I would like to invite Anson back. Anson, please go ahead.
Thank you, Anjali, ma'am. Trinity's rock and pop vocal repertoire features a huge range of songs spanning from all contemporary styles, including rock, pop, blues, R&B, soul, etc., giving you an in-depth understanding about singing techniques, music, and the industry, whether self-taught or taking lessons. Learning for fun or heading for a music career in the music industry, these will help you develop valuable skills and achieve your musical ambitions. Now we are going to take a look into some of the styles in the foundation level. The first style we are going to look into is the rock genre. Trust me, everybody loves and everybody knows the rock genre. Rock music is a broad genre of popular music that originated as rock and roll in the United States in the late 1940s and early 1950s, and developed into a range of different styles in the mid 1960s. Rock music is defined by rhythm and not melody. Rock is in 4/4 time, with heavy beats being on 2 and 4. It has a strong male vocals, usually sung in belt register. Electric guitar, organ, bass, and drums are some of the other instruments that are prominent in this style. The timeless Knockin' on Heaven's Door was written by Bob Dylan and has become Dylan's most covered songs, featured in Great Initial vocal syllabus. Let's listen to the song.
Mama, take this badge off of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
Yes, there you go, an iconic rock song, Knockin' on Heaven's Door. Let's move on to grade 1. Reggae is a music genre that originated in America in the late 1960s. A 1968 single by Toots and Maytals, Do the Reggae, was the first popular song to use the word reggae, effectively naming the genre and introducing it to a global audience. One can clearly differentiate a reggae tune from another genre by just identifying the offbeat rhythms. It has vocals being the heart and soul, with the bass usually driving the sound up front, with guitar and piano on offbeats. The song featured in this style in grade 1 is The Tide is High, written by John Holt and the Paragons. It became their 5th #1 hit in the UK and replaced John Lennon's Starting Over to become 3rd hit in the US. Let's hear it.
The tide is high, but I'm holding on. I'm gonna be your number one. I'm not the kind of girl who gives up just like that. Oh no, it's not the things you do that tease and hurt me bad, but it's the way you do the things you do to me.
Yes, there you go. A very prominent reggae song, The Tide is High. Moving on to grade 2, we have funk. Funk is a music genre that originated in African American communities in the mid 1960s, when the musicians created a rhythmic, danceable new form of music through a mixture of soul music, jazz, rhythms, and blues. Funk features an energetic vocal hook, usually repeated throughout the song, strong bass lines, and a heavy syncopated beat. Funk will want to get you up and dance. The next song was composed and written by Jeff Pascal, with Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars, who provides the vocals and drums on the track. You know what's coming up, guys? Let's hear it.
I'm too hot, hot damn. Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot damn. Make a dragon wanna retire, man. I'm too hot damn. Say my name, you know who I am. I'm too hot damn. I'm bad about that money, break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch.
Wow, didn't want to make you get up and dance. Moving on to grade 3, pop. Pop music is a genre of popular music that produces the most hits. Although most singles are also released on an album, songs that became hits almost always share different features and sometimes are called the pop musical formula. They have a catchy melody and are easy to remember and sing along to. Trinity Grade 3 syllabus features the song Adventure of a Lifetime, which is an iconic pop number from the band Coldplay, written by the band along with the Norwegian duo Stargate. The band has a lot of hits in the bag, but this one really stands apart. Let's listen to the song.
We are diamonds, now I feel my heart beating. I feel my heart underneath my skin. Oh, I can feel my heart beating. Oh, you make me feel like I'm alive again. Alive again. Oh, you make me feel like I'm alive again. Turn your magic on.
Yes, an iconic number from the band Coldplay. Moving on to next. Yes, we are directly going on to grade 1 because grade initial has almost all the techniques in grade 1. Yes, grade 1, just looking by stereophonics. The technique being showcased in this song are pickup and belt. Most of the phrases in the song begins from the middle of the measure. Count these pickups carefully. The chorus offers a contrast to the verse. This section is intended to be sung with belting technique, that is power at higher register end of the chest voice. If you plan on transposing the song, choose a key where it will be towards the top of your chest voice in the chorus. It is recommended to listen to the original version of the song to achieve the right sound. Here it is for you.
They say the more you fly, the more you risk your life. And I'm just looking, I'm not buying.
Yes, it was very evident. The phrase started at the middle of the measure. And moving on to the belt register. And I'm just looking, I'm not buying. So I hope that is clear for you guys. Moving on to grade 2, get lucky. The techniques being showcased in the song are phrasing and intervals. See that you phrase effectively across 3 contrasting sections, which is the short fragmented phrases at the opening, the longer rising phrases at the bar 13, and energetic phrases towards the end. There are also some large intervals, fourths and fifths. This needs to be sung with accuracy. Let's have a look.
Let's raise the bar and our cups to the stars. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. She's up all night.
Yes, that was the phrasing and intervals. As you can see, the phrasing was evident at the first section. Let's raise a bar and the cups to the stars. And we have the intervals of 4 sentences. She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to the sun. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. So those were the intervals. Yes, moving on to grade 3. The techniques in this song are dynamics and control over range. This is a song of contrasting dynamics. The melody begins softly and gently before hitting a sudden fortissimo at the chorus. Be sure to bring out the change carefully without taking the microphones. The other main challenge is to control over range. The verse begins low in chest voice before switching to upper chest, called the belt register, which we discussed earlier. This will require a great deal of confidence in moving between the two registers. Let's have this.
Yes, her, I'm a bad boy for breaking her heart, and I'm free falling. Yeah, I'm free.
Yes, that was the dynamics and control over range. The dynamics begins with a low chest voice. I'm a bad boy for breaking her heart. Then we move on to the belt register. And I'm free falling. Hope that was really evident to you all. All right. So now we are moving on to the intermediate. For that, I invite Albert to take over.
Thank you, Anson. Wonderful singing. And very good afternoon, guys. Hope you all are rocking there. Speaking on intermediate level, the level is between the foundation and advanced, having the knowledge or skill which is more advanced than a beginner, but not yet fully expert. Grade 4 and 5 falls under this category. The slide in front of us shows the whole range and variety of styles, from funk to dance, soul to folk rock, pop to Motown, and pop to pop rock. So let's do a keen analysis and look into the styles featured in the intermediate level syllabus. Soul. Soul style is a popular form of music born in the United States of America in the late 50s and early 60s. It's largely an African American derived style, incorporating the elements of blues, jazz, rhythm, and most importantly, gospel music. Despite many rhythm and blues artists being well versed in gospel music, there was some resistance to blending sacred music with a genre that was considered by many to be ungodly. Well, having said that, the resulting blend of rhythm and blues, jazz and gospel with secular lyrics came to be known as soul. Now, the artists like James Brown, Stevie Wonder, John Legend, and late Amy Winehouse are few names who made this genre popular. Being a hugely emotive genre, soul is most effectively expressed through vocals. Singers often use a wide range of rich vocal timbre, which is expressive in sound and feel, and also in the lyrical content, describing trials and tribulations or love stories and heartbreaks. So it is evident and important to reflect the content of the story in your performance as a vocalist. Let's hear the track.
Then he looked into my eyes. Lord knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Yes, he was.
Son of a Preacher Man by Dustin Springfield, a London-born British singer. The song was also featured in a scene of a film called Pulp Fiction. Moving on, we have the swing style. Swing style is predominantly about rhythm, as the name suggests, with an emphasis on the offbeat smoothly moving melody lines, and simple harmonic progressions, swing was music for dance, popularized by the big band ensemble of early jazz. A Duke Ellington hit from the time sums it up perfectly. The title was It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. Yes, swing music has been popular for decades and embodies total control, coolness, and even a little arrogance. As a singer, one needs to be carefully using these elements whilst creating a smooth, warm, and rich swing sound. The song featured in our grade 5 is Sunday Morning by American pop rock band Maroon 5, which was released as the fourth single from their debut studio album, Songs About Jane. Let's hear the clip.
That may be all I need. In darkness, she is all I see. Come and rest your bones with me. Driving slow on Sunday morning, and I never want to leave.
Yes, thank you. And moving on to the technical focus songs in grade 4 and 5. Here in front of us, we can see a big range of important techniques listed out, which Trinity has included in the syllabus for a consistent and steady growth of a vocal teacher and a student. We can see pitching, breathing, decorated melodic lines to rap, syncopation. Let's look into a piece featured in grade 4 and observe the two main technical challenges. The song we are taking today is You Do Something to Me by the English singer-songwriter Paul Weller, who released this from his third solo album, Stanley Road. The song features a highly decorated melodic line. Now, what is decorated melodic line? In music, ornaments are musical flourishes, typically added notes that are not essential to carry the overall line of the melody, but they serve instead to decorate that line by giving the opportunity to the artist to add more interest and variety to their performances. Therefore, as a vocal teacher, we need to observe the notation carefully and listen closely to the performance track. These will help you to create all the detail in the phrases, which is very important part of soulful rock vocal style. There is a great contrast in the dynamics as well in the song. From the soft start, to the louder chorus, especially at bar 21, if you listen carefully. You'll have to find an intensity in the softer sound and maintain a full tone at the louder end, avoiding shouting. Let's listen to a clip from the song.
Hanging on the wire, yeah. I'm waiting for the change. I'm dancing through the fire just to catch a flame and feel real again.
Yeah. Very clearly, we could hear that decorated melodic line in the beginning. Hanging on the fire, yeah. I'm waiting for a change. Yes. So moving on to the next song featured in grade 5, guys. This is Shake It Off by one of the world's best-selling artists, the American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift. Shake It Off is an up-tempo dance pop rock track coming out from the fifth album and considered to be a departure from Swift's earlier country pop music style. Looking at the vocal techniques in this song, throughout the song, the melody requires considerable vocal agility to ensure that the octave leaps, general pitching, and diction are all secure. Vocal agility is a healthy singing technique. It is the ability to sing in a fluid and strain-free way without limiting your range and dynamics. The song also needs an extrovert performing style, particularly in the rap section. Not only should this be rhythmically accurate, but you'll also need to deliver it with total.
My ex-man bought his new girlfriend. She's like, oh my god, but I'm just gonna shake him to the fella over there with the hella good hair. Won't you come on over, baby? We can shake, shake, shake. Yeah, cause the player's gonna play.
Yeah, so we just heard that rap section from the track, and followed by that was a very prominent vocal agility technique. Yeah, Yeah. So now moving on to the advanced grades, where teaching and learning approach becomes more progressive and a step forward. For this section, I hand over the presentation to Farida ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so we are into advanced level teaching of rock and pop, grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. A quick look at the advanced styles will tell you that you have practically every possible style that you would want to look at or sing at these levels. It moves from rock and pop, which has been done earlier, into upbeat country pop. Grade 7 has dance pop. The ballad has now moved into the epic ballad, the rock ballad. There's the soul ballad. And at grade 8, a fair amount of soul, rock, and glam rock. Just basically a whole amalgamation of the various styles that we had earlier, but more intensive and more changed and altered to suit advanced singing. Let's look at the styles for the various grades. And at grade 6, for male voice, we have the epic Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel. This can very easily be categorized as a jazz ballad. And it's a beautiful style of singing, very, very intimate, very lyrical, yet combines a jazz feel with this very, very soulful style. There's a lot of the blues scale. There's a very relaxed feel, which also means that pitching has to be very, very secure. The main thing with the ballad is it tells a story. Let's listen to Billy Joel's Just the Way You Are.
I would not leave you in times of trouble. We never could have come this far. I took the good times. I'll take the bad times. I'll take you just the way you are.
So we see how he tells a story here, and there's a really nice little fun fact I'd like to include here. Billy Joel wrote this song when he was going through a very painful divorce with his first wife. So the story goes that he hated singing the song, even though it was a reflection of his own personal elements. And the band members used to joke with him and replace the words of "I love you just the way I love you just the way you are" with "She's got the house, she's got the car." No wonder Joel didn't like singing it or performing it. On to grade 7, and we have female voice with Nina Simone's Feeling Good. Nina Simone was a legend, and this is a remarkable song, a mix of a show tune and jazz blues. For those familiar with show tunes, the original Feeling Good was written by Newley and Bricuse, taken from the Broadway musical The Roar of Grease Paint. Nina Simone, of course, puts her own very, very personal stamp on this, with a lot of syncopation, a lot of musical freedom, and the underlying raw emotion. Let's take a listen.
Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Yeah, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Ooh. And I'm feeling good.
All right, and straight on with the grade 8 for female voice, we have the very, very popular Chandelier by Sia. As with most of the grade 8 songs, it's really hard to slot them into one particular style. And Chandelier is definitely a mix. It's a mix of pop and a gentle flowing dance form. It's slow, very sensuous, very rhythmic, and it sort of floats into the higher registers, giving it a kind of eerie, ethereal sound, which is quite a difficult style to interpret. Let's listen to it.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. I throw 'em back till I lose count. Ah, come let's swing from the chandelier, from the chandelier. Ah, gonna live like tomorrow doesn't exist, like it doesn't exist. Ah, gonna fly like a bird from the night, feel my chances to die. Ah, gonna swing from the chandelier, from the chandelier.
Okay, let's move on to technique for the advanced grades. So grade 6, grade 7, grade 8 has every possible technique that you could use for the voice. There's, of course, diction and tone, which were there in the lower grades as well. But now we come across things like the head voice, rhythmic precision, there's melisma, the chest voice, the upper chest voice, which will include belting, vocal folds, and a fair amount of improvisation. So technically, this is challenging and really fun for singers. We look at the technique for 3 songs for male voice, starting with grade 6. We have Elton John, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. The 2 main techniques used here are diction, and the diction on this particular song needs to be really energetic, very crisp, very clean, with good articulation. And the second aspect of technique, tonal color. This is especially seen on high notes. The high notes can be taken with the head voice or even falsetto, as long as the falsetto is done well and correctly. And don't forget, there is the occasional scream as well.
It's getting late, I haven't seen my mate. Ma, tell me when the boys get here. 7 o'clock and I wanna rock. Wanna get it in, it's alright, alright, alright.
Grade 7, male voice, we look at the temper trap's sweet disposition. So 2 techniques here, the head voice. In the advanced grades, we're seeing a lot of use of the head voice. And when head voice is used, you have to be careful to take care of the intonation, especially when you place the high notes. There is the use of vibrato. It's very effective in a song like this, but carefully placed vibrato so as not to lose pitch. And of course, rhythmic precision, because there's a lot of syncopation. So please ensure when you're doing a song like this that the main beat is absolutely spot on. We'll listen to it.
A moment of love, a dream, a lie, a kiss, a cry.
And at grade 8, we are looking at Sam Smith's Lay Me Down. And this is a giant of a song for male voice. Beautiful, beautiful song to do. But the 2 technical aspects that we're really going to look at here is tonal variety. So rock and pop, but a lot of tonal variety, huge contrasts from very, very soft to very loud, and some shattering falsettos, which need to be done really well. And the second aspect is melisma, which is the quick movement of notes moving up or down a vocal scale. Very clean, very fluid runs, and there's a lot of that in Lay Me Down. Let's listen.
Can I lay by your side next to you?
That was Sam Smith with Lay Me Down. And now let's look at female voices and the techniques being used. At grade 6, we have Sinead O'Connor with Nothing Compares to You. And the two main things that stand out technically with this song are the technique of blues notes, flattened notes, which are very, very blue and need a strong sense of intonation and very, very secure pitch. And the second aspect with this beautiful ballad is emotion. A lot of involvement, a lot of intensity, a combination of these two, and you've got a great performance going. Let's listen.
It's been 7 hours and 15 days since you took your love away. I go out every night and sleep all.
So you could hear those beautifully flattened blue notes being done so very carefully and so well. That's what we're looking at. Grade 7, and we have the Swedish songwriter and singer Björk with Yoga. Yoga is one heck of a song to handle. Technically, there's rhythmic complexity, and it really is very, very difficult to do. You've got to take care of careful counting. Make sure that you're absolutely precise and perfect with entries on the beat. So a lot of counting here. And the second is the power and the belt. There are a lot of top registers being used in this song, and they need a really full sound, no harshness, no flatness at all.
It's been 7 hours and 15 days since you took your love. Emotional
Yoga.
landscapes, they puzzle me. The riddle gets solved, and you push me up to this state of emergence.
Okay, and grade 8, we have Mariah Carey's Vision of Love. And the two things we're looking at are two things that are very, very particular to Mariah Carey songs. The first one is vocal agility, absolutely amazing agility. There's a lot of passage work, fluidity, fast-flowing notes, well-placed sound, and excellent ornamentation. And the second, of course, is melismatic singing, and Mariah Carey was the queen of melisma. Very, very typical melismatic style in Vision of Love.
Ooh, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. To me, I had a vision of love, and it was
All I can say is wow. And over now to Chrisanne for music theory for vocalists.
Thank you, Farida ma'am. As you all know, using your voice as a musical instrument is just as challenging as playing one. Hence, it's not only that every instrument has to deal with the concepts of music theory, but so does your voice. So if you are a singer, you should know the fundamentals of music theory for vocalists. Let's take a look at some of the concepts that relate to singing. One of the first steps for a singer is being able to read and recognize note names and clefs. This is followed by note and rest values, which are important to understand the concept of time while singing in order to know which word is sung or held for how many beats and where you can take a breath or rest your voice in the songs. Next, we have time signatures, which is important to know the pulse of the song. A simple time signature is when your main beat can be divided into two equal parts. A compound time signature, the main beat is divided into three equal notes. An irregular is a combination of simple and compound. Key and key signatures is the essence of music theory. They help you understand relationship and modulation from one key to the other. Also important to understand the keys in order to transpose the songs to your required key for the exam and be able to read the chord chart for the improvisation test. Then we have intervals, which is the building blocks of relative pitch. Relative pitch is your sense of how high or low a note is compared to another note. Next, we come to rhythms. Different rhythmic patterns help us bring out the emotion and groove of the piece. Understanding the various rhythmic patterns like triplets, syncopations, help you understand better which beats are to be accented or stressed upon. Dynamics, articulation, and performance directions are extremely important to communicate the style of a piece. Here we have a few listed for you, from PP to crescendos to forzandos to diminuendos. Under articulations, we have staccatos, accents, tenutos. And performance directions, we have the cantabile, phrasing, and slurs. It is important to read and match lyrics to the notes. This is also an important part of music theory for vocalists. It will help you bring out a melisma in your pieces more smoothly, guide you on how long to sustain a word or syllable, and also help you understand how a broken up word is sung over a couple of notes. The voice ranges. Every singer has a few notes that fall in a sweet spot in their voice. What is your comfortable voice range? Listed here are 4 different voice ranges: soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Once you get familiar with this, you surely will be able to recognize and identify pieces that suit your voice. Sight singing. Sight singing is for singers, like sight reading is for instrumentalists. It is a very important skill for vocalists and relates directly to all the theory concepts discussed so far. Understanding notes, time, scales, intervals, articulations, etc., all combined helped develop this skill. It is tested in our session skills as playback, where you need to sing back a melody. I hope you found this helpful.
Thank you, Chrisanne. That was very insightful, and I'd like to say a big thank you to all our presenters who have done such a great job. Of course, we can't hear you, but I'm sure you can give them a silent round of applause. And I'm going to wrap up this session today by just saying a few words. Today, there is so much music in this world. We are sharing music, artists are collaborating with each other, and people are listening so much more to music. The expectations from performing musicians is much more than their musical talent. You may have a personalized set list that you can play very well, brilliantly, but the connect you establish with your audience is another feat entirely. Our Trinity Rock and Pop assessments encourage you to achieve this. We are talking about performance and we are talking about communication, and these are two things which go a long way in producing a brilliant musician. Our syllabus helps you get there, and I hope you all enjoy our syllabus. As I'm sure you enjoyed today's presentation and all the knowledge shared, which makes us realize that there's much more than just those notes on the book, on the score. There is a lot more to learning music and understanding music. If you understand something, it'll never go away from you. So thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. And these are some contacts who you can get in touch with if you have any questions. Of course, our Rock and Pop website, which is trinityrock.com, has immense resources and teacher support material. And there are email IDs here of all those who presented today, and of course mine. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you presenters. A wonderful, wonderful show. Bye-bye. Stay safe. Priya, is it okay? Have we answered all questions?
There are just a couple of questions about execution of a song. So I don't know if this is the right forum. Otherwise, all questions have been answered. One is about the technical focus on grade 7 for the female voice. There is a beginning which many students apparently struggle with. So they wanted some help with that. And another was a simple question about whether a song can be transposed an octave higher to sound more like the original. This is in grade 5. So transposition, of course, is allowed, but
not an octave higher.
Octave higher.
Farida,
So it's
you could probably address that.
there are just these 2 open questions, otherwise all answered.
Okay.
Don't Wanna Fight is the grade 7 female voice.
Yeah.
The song, and there is something about the beginning of the song which apparently many students are struggling with. Anything about that?
Chat? Is this on the chat?
No, it's on the Q&A.
On Q&A.
Q&A.
Okay.
Priya, did you answer about the Shillong representative?
That has just come in fact. It is just this minute. I'm from Well, no, we haven't answered that yet.
There is just one more which can go after this.
I don't quite get any representatives here.
In Shillong, there is Minette Duncan, who is our representative, and you can contact her. I'm sure everybody knows her in Shillong. This is for Tessa. Yes, Farida, do you have an answer to the other questions?
Shubham Kamath is the one with this. Both the questions are about the tracks are from this person.
Where is this Q&A?
Or would you like to, we can get it on the
I can just call out the
record.
question. Would you like to? Yeah.
You can mail this person. We have his email.
All right, I
ID.
will just mail that they should.
No, we have the ID, and I will pass this on to Farida to mail.
Yeah, you can send it on. I'll
Yeah.
answer
Okay.
it.
You have to go to Q&A. You'll find it there.
There is a question in the answered section
Yeah.
from Shubham Kamath again. What can be an optimal gain level for a dynamic microphone, especially when clubbed with an audio hub type amplifier, includes an XLR input?
Anson, can you get this one? Anson, are you there? Okay, we'll get back to Shubham with all these answers.
Yes, I've said. I've sent him now.
Okay. All right. So if there's nothing else, all taken care of?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we can exit the meeting now. And thank you once again. Next week, we have keyboards on Wednesday, 5th August.